Kevin and Mike are here to give you great news.
Nice. Hey, and welcome to another episode of Great News.
Great news!
I'm Kevin Ryder on Instagram and Twitter at the Kevin Ryder, and this is Mike Catherwood
At Mike Catherwood.
on both.
Yeah.
This is a podcast all about good stories that make you feel better about the human race.
And you really do.
It
We
really-
feel better just pulling these stories, and we hope that it has an effect on you just listening to these stories, because this is reality. Let me remind you, there is a lot of confirmation bias when it comes to most of the media that you consume, because they just want to find all the stuff that makes us angry, all the stuff that is negative and bad, because that sells. But we don't want to sell you anything but a good time. Boom! All right, Evan, here we go. This is black metal.
Okay,
Like
all right.
dark. I'm from Norway.
Okay.
My name is Sven.
Is this Screamo?
No.
Okay.
I'm talking deep dark. I have corpse makeup on.
Okay.
My name is Skull Crusher, but my real name is like Stuttgart von Nürgenfjord.
Intro just about to begin, bro. Say hello to the happy, goodbye to the blues. Kevin and Mike here to give you great news. Hail Satan.
Wow.
Thank you.
What's that? We weren't rolling? Oh, we got to do it again. I'm really sorry.
No problem. I'm more than happy to do it. And I'll burn a church in Oslo.
Okay.
'Cause I'm committed.
Here's my first story. There are a lot of people who are angry about social media.
Sure.
And there's a lot of social media to hate.
Sure.
But at Twitter and Instagram, we've seen them be used for positive.
Absolutely.
In a lot of ways. And in this particular case, it's TikTok. There's a man who saw the suffering in Texas, and he decided that he's from Tennessee. He decided that he was going to go on TikTok and say, I'm going to go to Texas and help these people.
All right.
So if you can support this in any way, let me know. And the response, of course, as usual, was overwhelming. Check out this video.
Tens of millions of people in the Lone Star State were without power and water during the storm. It was well documented on social media and caught the eye of a Murfreesboro TikTok user. News Channel 5's Hannah McDonald reports he drove to Texas with supplies that his fans helped him to buy, proving kindness isn't canceled.
Although the crisis was happening more than 800 miles away, it was still within reach. So he got moving.
We got some PVC, we got some plumbing supplies, we got food, we got water, and I'm still out rounding up last minute supplies for y'all.
I was hoping to raise $500 to $800, and I was going to match it.
We'll see you tomorrow.
You know, and within minutes, we exceeded that number.
TikTok user Chris Whelan took his truck, a trailer, and $7,000 in supplies
All right, hold up.
to Texas.
That you don't get a lot for $7,000, do you?
Doesn't seem like it. You get an 18-pack.
All right, go ahead.
Last week.
Good evening, Texas.
From the minute I left my house, I felt like I couldn't get there quick enough.
Behind the wheel for 14 hours with just his dog, Chris never lost his drive because of his supporters.
All that credit goes to the followers of TikTok.
Chris landed in Killeen,
Oh, man, no.
in Central Texas, and was received with open arms.
To be so thankful for a bottle of water, let alone they were getting a case of water or cases of water and other food supplies. I mean, they're amazing people. I mean, I feel like I'm a little part of Killeen now.
He's wanted to honor a friend from Texas for a while.
He served the military. He suffered real bad. And eventually he took his own life.
Texas loves you. I love you. It was awesome.
That just being able to help Texas of where he lived and where he's buried is just, I mean, it holds a spot in my heart.
In a heartbeat, Chris would take a trip back, but says to help others, you can still go the distance without leaving your community.
If you can hop in line and buy somebody $20 worth of groceries, or you can buy them $20 worth of gas, sometimes that little help that they need, you're the blessing to their prayer.
In Murfreesboro, Hannah McDonald,
I'll continue doing this.
News Channel 5.
How great is that guy?
Beautiful. And if Bert Kreischer ever wanted to know what he'd look like if he lost weight,
That's
there
him.
it is. That's a beautiful story. I love that. Man, there's a lot of amazing, inspiring stories coming out of the disasters in Texas.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
The worse the disaster, the more these stories show up because there are a lot of people who respond that way. And we've had people, by the way, ask us, is it difficult to find these stories? And the answer is no.
No, it's difficult to pare it down sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up because it leads me to my next story. Darius Rucker from Hootie and the Blowfish and his own solo country career.
That's Darius Rucker.
It's impossible to narrow down. Put in Darius Rucker philanthropy in it's impossible to get to the bottom of when this story comes out because all he does is commit himself to different philanthropic efforts and raises insane amounts of money, gives his own money, does a bunch of like charity shows. The guy is constantly thinking of ways to give back. Well, recently, he did it in a very casual way, in a kind of very folksy, community-driven way that I thought was really, really special. So he eats at this IHOP pretty frequently when he's not on tour, which right now is pretty much all the time, in his hometown of Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. Now, I don't know if that's his hometown, but it's in that area of where he lived, where he was raised. So he goes to this IHOP pretty frequently, and the regulars are always pretty impressed when he shows up. Recently, he was there, and it was a packed house, and without saying anything to anyone, he decided he was going to pay for everyone's meals and also tip exclusively for each check.
Wow.
And the customers and the employees at IHOP are not willing to give out exactly how much it was because he had requested, he's like, I don't really want, but just, here you go. And there were a lot of people. It added up, and he paid. He explained. This is the manager of said IHOP. And they declined to give it an amount, but they said it was much more than you could actually imagine because there's probably about 200 different, there's a safe occupancy of 200 people, and he paid for the people who are waiting in line to be seated.
Wow.
So it's just a local guy. He's like, you know what? Here we go.
I'm going to pay for everyone.
I'm going to pay for everyone, and I'm going to make sure I take care of all you, the employees, too. So here's my tip.
That's pretty amazing.
You got to run it up, right? Like if you're a waiter there or a waitress, you're like, oh, yeah, thanks for paying the tips, Darius. They had $3,800 worth of pancakes. You know what I'm saying?
I've always loved Hootie for that reason.
Yeah. No,
I didn't know it was him.
I know. He's lost a lot of weight.
How about that?
My ex-wife used to work at a really, really, really trendy, really hip sushi place in Hollywood. Mm-hmm. And one time, Jay-Z and Beyonce came in, and they like closed off a whole thing. And it was just like, Jay-Z just like, just keep it coming. So at the end of the night, the servers who were all bending over backwards to help Jay-Z and Beyonce and their crew, he just goes, what should I tip you? And they're like, well, what do we do?
How
here?
much do you have?
Like, yeah, exactly. It's
No, but you would
Jay-Z.
never say that to somebody who's saying, what would I tip you?
Right, and you're like, and he's just sitting there like, with a so what's a good tip? And it was because they were put in such an uncomfortable place. But at the end of the day, it was so considerable, and he was like, yeah, okay, here you go. Just kind of crazy.
That's
I
crazy.
always thought that was weird that he's like, well, what do I do here? I don't know how. Just
Tell me what's good.
Take money from me. I have lots of it.
There is a guy in Baltimore, Maryland. His name is Calvin Tyler, and he enrolled at Morgan State College.
All right.
Which is an all-black college.
Okay.
He had to drop out of college because he couldn't afford it. It was expensive.
Yeah.
Watch this story about what he's accomplished and how he went back and helped other people in his situation.
A man who dropped out of college for financial reasons has now given the school its largest ever private donation from an alumnus. This is Calvin Tyler. He had to leave Morgan State University after 2 years because he couldn't afford it. He became a UPS driver, worked his way up the corporate ladder to senior vice president of operations and then the company's board of directors. And now, almost 40 years after dropping out, Tyler and his wife Tina have donated $20 million to the school to help need-based students.
Oh, such a beautiful thing. Wow.
How crazy is that?
Do you understand?
The dude had to stop going to college because he couldn't afford it.
And if you donate 20 million, that means you have 200.
Usually, yes.
At least.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh my God.
Right?
That's amazing. And you always hear those stories in like movies of like, he started as a warehouse, you know, he was in shipping and receiving, but now he's the CEO. You're like, oh, shut the fuck up. Especially with a company like UPS, a global, really important company. He was driving UPS trucks and he's like, yeah, one of these days.
Isn't there a tiny part of you that might be upset that college was so expensive that you had to leave? He didn't have that, clearly, but is there a part of you that thinks
depends.
that?
It depends on, I mean, if they're just charging the standard average for a good private school, you can't really blame them. I mean, if he was in a situation financially where he just frankly couldn't cut it, is that really on the school?
Yeah,
you know what I'm
that's
saying?
true.
Like, especially if they're trying. Maybe he exhausted other financial aid that he was given. You never know.
He was a college dropout and donated $20 million.
It's beautiful. That story makes me feel so good about humanity. This story makes me feel so happy about everything because someone who really deserves it gets it. I'm sure many of you have seen this video. It made its rounds on Instagram, but once I laid eyes on it, I knew I had to bring it to great news because this is the best. Everyone knows. Everyone knows.
Everyone knows.
The angry Karen. Okay, like the one that looks like Kate Goslin. You know, let me talk to your manager, Karen.
Yeah.
But that's like the majority of Karen. There's one even more dangerous Karen, and that is the kind of marginally hot young chick who's had everybody bend over backwards for her whole life, and she thinks she's a real life living princess.
Yeah.
That's what this chick is. She notices that these guys are following her, trying to get her attention because she's in her sports bra and her Mercedes trying to look hot. She pulls them over, and she's going to read them the riot act. But look what happens.
Leave me alone. Why do you keep following me? It's honestly so creepy, and I'm going to call the cops.
Man, no.
Because you guys aren't leaving me alone, and that's why women can't go out in the world by themselves, because of guys like you.
What?
Okay? So stop following me.
You have? Oh, like, I don't know if you have like a gas... You have a thing hanging out of your car.
What are you talking about?
There's literally a gas hose hanging out of your car. No one's being creeped. Oh. Well, thank you.
She filled up her car
and drove off with the hose.
Forgot to take the gas pump out and drove off and ripped it right out of the gas station. And they were just trying to alert her.
Look,
there's
the thank you.
She's like, F you.
Did she not go back and go, I'm
no
really
apologies.
sorry?
Thanks for to get all of it.
Wow.
People
may be pretty uptight. That's insanity. That's instant karma right there.
Far be it from me. I do not know what it's like being a young lady, especially an attractive one where you're constantly probably getting a bunch of guys making you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I totally understand that, and I agree that that's a reality. I also don't know what it's like to feel that threatened. You know, if two guys were following me, I would, you know,
That'd freak you out some.
So she gets out of the car and she's expressing herself. I get that. But how do you not go, oh my God, guys, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry that I made that accusation. And
she pulled out the thing and put it in her car.
Yeah.
And drove away like she was still angry at them.
Yeah, like she was mad at them.
Yeah.
She was still mad at them. But there you go, you dumb young Karen.
Do we have time for one more here? No? Oh. I didn't realize it was time for this.
Time to play. Now, it's time to play Stinky Pinky. It's a word get called Stinky Pinky. Everybody in the world, they love Stinky Pinky. Now, it's time to play Stinky Pinky. Get called Stinky Pinky. Everybody in the world, they love Stinky Pinky. Let's go, hit me.
Describe this game for people.
It's a wordplay game where you, the players, provide us clues about 2 words that rhyme.
Yes.
That is, the answer is always 2 words that rhyme, but you can't use the answer words in your description. So, for instance, Kevin, the namesake of the game, if I were to say, smelly finger.
I got nothing.
Stinky pinky.
Stinky pinky, right. That's what I meant.
Overweight feline.
Fat cat.
There you go. That's how we play.
All right.
Here we go. Come on. Jane's Civic.
Civic.
Fonda Honda.
Nice.
Boom. Boom.
Wow,
Boom.
you're good at this.
Wedding cart. Marriage carriage. Boom. Next. I'm champion pinky man.
I'm not even
Sandy
close to these.
Scream. Beach screech. Boom. Boom.
You've seen these?
Rowing prostitute. If it's or whore. Yeah! Yeah!
It has to be.
All right. We got any more? Underage eatery. Underage eatery. I'm scared of this one. Underage. Minor diner? Yeah! Bitch.
How many have I gotten?
You none.
0.
Irrigation urination. Irrigation, digging, plow, urination, peeing.
Irrigation.
Do you have this one?
No.
Irrigation. What is it? Sprinkler. How is irrigation sprinkler?
That's how you irrigate places, is sprinklers.
You can use a hose. You can use a hoe. You can't just irrigate. You say,
hey, play the game.
Sprinkler. No, the clue for sprinkler has to be something describing specifically a sprinkler. Go.
I don't like your attitude. Espresso can.
Coffee toffee? Yeah. Yeah. Paris Gun. Paris Gun? Is it Paris Hilton or Paris, France? Or Paris, Texas? Paris. Hold on. No, don't give me.
I would guess the place.
Pistol gun. Eiffel rifle. Listen, fuck. You can't. Paris is not a tip. It's not a clue for Eiffel. You would have to put tower or because Eiffel is a thing in Paris. You can't. The clue does not let me at all know that you're talking about a specific monument in Paris.
I'd just like to say that first of all, this is the outro, but you got all of them. Stop yelling.
I got all of them because I have a gift from God, not because everybody's playing the game right. There you go. Thank you. It's a game called Stinky Pinky.
And that wraps up Great News.
Yeah.
For another episode. Again, if you like this kind of thing, go ahead and subscribe. Recommend to your friends, perhaps, that you know would like it as well.
Outro! You know what I'm talking about, bro. Say hello to the happy, goodbye to the blues, because Kevin and Mike are here to give you great news.
You're still mad about Stinky Pinky, aren't you?
Nah.
Okay.
But he's right. Subscribe, download, support, tell your friends. All right. Bye-bye. Love you. Kevin and Mike are here to give you great news.
Nice.